What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This one is going to be an entertaining one because CGC is back at it again. Why there is such little trust in CGC right now, and we're going to kind of go into the history of what led up to this experiment, and I just want to clarify, do not recommend doing this. This is just something that purely was experimental. I would never actually do this with cards I was planning on selling. This is just my personal card that I went ahead and sent in to be reholdered, and I am shocked what it came back as from CGC. So before we get into this one, as a lot of you can probably already tell, the background has changed. It is a stark difference from what we had before. I'm gonna put a before and after. Still working out lighting for the actual displays, as well as better lighting for me, because right now I'm just using natural lighting from the window, and then the ceiling titty lighting. And I just want to, give a huge thanks to my wife, Riley, aka Dopey Slowpokes. I am super thankful for her. She has unfortunately given up her space in the office because we recognized that with the business growing and also the amount of product that we have growing, I need more room in the office. And a part of getting that room, I was able to put together this display. And I plan on making a full video if you guys do want to check that one out later, where it's going to show the details of how I put it together, what I purchased, and I'm actually really incredibly happy with how everything came out. And I think I was able to do it for under $300 for everything that's going to be done, including the lighting as well. So I'll make that video once we get all of the lighting in for the individual displays, but just incredible. I'm super happy to finally be able to properly display all of my sealed product. And I have some big boxes like those Sea and Sky and those Blooming Water boxes, so it was incredible that I was able to fit it all on here. With that out of the way, I do want to get straight into this one. So this card has been to California, Montana, Sarasota, Florida twice, and to Texas. So this is my Umbreon V from VMAX Climax. It is the same Umbreon V that you guys are probably familiar with from Brilliant Stars. It is right here, and I'll put a better picture up on screen. But this card has been through it all. This is one of the first cards I ever graded back when I was, rejoining the hobby, and it was worth, it was in my opinion worth sending in to be graded at the time. But PSA at the time was still, I think, charging $100+ to grade a single card. Not to mention, they also had a turnaround time of over 12 months at the time around COVID. Some people don't realize how good we have it still, right now even. I mean, yes, 3 to 6 months is crazy. Don't get me wrong. I think that that's a long time to wait to get your collectibles back, but it's definitely not the worst it's ever been. So this Umbreon originally graded a CGC Pristine 10 back around 2021, and that was back when CGC had blue labels. So I had this card, right? And for some reason, dumb, me, coming back into the hobby, not knowing much about grading at all, I just assumed that if it was a Gem Mint 10 from PSA, that meant it's guaranteed to get a 10 from any other source. And the same with CGC, the same with Beckett. That's what I thought. And I thought, CGC Pristine 10, what's the equivalent from Beckett? A black label. And I remember seeing some clips of people, getting black labels or selling black labels for tens of thousands of dollars. It wasn't even necessarily that I wanted to sell this card. I just thought it would be so cool to get that black label 10 for my Umbreon. And I'd cracked out a couple slabs before this, just personally, experimenting. before I decided to do this, crossover grade. Basically, flash forward, I sent it into Beckett. It comes back as an 8, a BGS 8. And I was shocked. I was absolutely destroyed about this because it was my first ever graded card. It had a pristine 10 label, and I was devastated about that. But I decided to keep that card as a learning lesson, and I even kept the label for it in the back of it just so I could remember my mistakes and hopefully not make them again. So, flash forward to today. I had purchased a Groudon, this actual Groudon, back at Card Party. And it was a CGC 10, and I decided that it was, in my opinion, it looked really, really clean centering-wise. It looks really clean on the back. It's a Japanese card, so, most likely you're going to get an easy PSA 10. And I believe the guy was willing to sell it to me for $25. And I think in PSA 10, this goes for like over $90. So anyways, I said, sure, I'll crack it out. I'll try and submit it. And when I was cracking out the CGC case, as you guys know, even though, and I'll show you an example here, even though CGC changed their label to these black labels, they still have the same cases. They're still clear cases. And I'll show you here. This is the blue label previously. This is a 9.5. So these are actually the exact same grade, by the way, if you did not know that. So I thought, shoot, I could probably just put the blue label where this was for the damaged or for the cracked slab for the Groudon, and just send it in to be reholdered and just see what happens. Honestly, I assumed that they were just gonna say, no, we're not gonna do that. The case has been damaged beyond a point where we can reasonably reholder it as the same grade. So I assumed they were either gonna reject it or they were maybe gonna grade it and it would get back like an 8 or a 9. Because when I cracked this out, the case was pretty busted. It was like the top corners were cut off. And like for the most part, the case was still intact, but it was, it was destroyed. And that's how I slipped the other card back in. So I put my Umbreon back in the card, and you guys already know what happened because this is the photo. That's right. They reholdered my CGC Pristine 10, that was a Beckett 8, back as a CGC 10 in the new black and gold labels. So I know already, someone's gonna go straight into the comments and be like, you jerkface, you a-hole, this is totally unethical, I'm reporting you to CGC. And you know what? Go ahead, because honestly, I never want to grade with CGC again after this. And because I think, first off, CGC just has had a myriad of issues with grading fake cards, with grading, miscut cards that were not actually miscut from Shiny Vert. And, I think that this is just really the icing on the cake for me personally. So yeah. So they graded, they reholdered my Umbreon V as a Pristine 10, and I can't believe it. Like, so the cost of doing this was right around $35. It was $10 to reholder, and it was $25 shipping back from them, which is crazy. I don't know why it's so much for one card. And then I think I sent it to them for $5, so maybe like $40 to do this. And like I said, I absolutely don't think you should do this. And this was purely just, I said, what the heck, I'll give it a shot, and I'm just curious to see what they'll do, and then I'll make a video out of it. Either way, whatever happens, right? So yeah, that's what happened, and I can't wait to see this thing back in person. I'm actually really excited to have it back in CGC instead of Beckett, just because of the fact that the Slab Labs displays that I have from Bulbasaur, CGC actually fits really nicely in them. CGC and then PSA slabs with graded guards on them fit really nicely in the Slab Labs. And Beckett doesn't even fit, like, at all. It's just way too thick. It's too box-like. So I am excited to have this back because before it was just sitting in a box. I couldn't display it, and, you know, quite frankly, I didn't really want to display a BGS 8 that, you know, kind of had a crappy story behind it, but this is like, you know what? We're back. We're back. And it feels like, I don't know what to make of this even, you know, like, what is my end takeaway of this? I don't trust CGC. That's the end takeaway. I didn't trust CGC before even. And I think that a lot of people share the same sentiments because I have been holding on to these pristine 10s, you know, of really cool cards, you know, cool artworks, cool cards for like literally over a year now. And I just cannot sell them for the life of me at card shows. I've you know, listed them at card shows for half of the last solds. I've taken them to eBay, buy it now, nobody wants them. And I just think it's incredible, you know, and I think that part of the reason is because of that. You know, there's been a lot of trust that has been lost on CGC, and the people that send into CGC is like, I don't know. I feel like I see these people that are sending in thousands of cards, and they're just like auctioning them off on Whatnot afterwards. And it just seems, I don't know, it just seems cheap to me. And I think that that's a lot of people's opinion, is it's sort of become the Dollar Tree of grading companies. And I mean, they're even, you know, willing to grade cards for under $10 if you send in, you know, large bulk submissions. So that's kind of my only takeaway that I can give you guys. Once again, I do not suggest doing this. And like I said, I don't plan on selling this card. In my opinion, this card, you know, is just a cool personal piece that has a funny story behind it at this point. And yeah, anyone who's watched those other videos that I made on this card, like, are probably gonna be like shocked that this even happened. But yeah, guys, I think this was just worth telling the story of. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Look out for future videos of Grade the Trade. We'll also be diving into the backdrop some more, as well as some other really cool videos talking about investing and my personal collection. So I really appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.